Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
So Vince, you want to start this new horrifying month?
Horrifying horror movie month?
Exactly.
Welcome to Front Row Review, where we're doing our all-movie horror movie month for the month of October 2012.
That sounded pretty terrifying, Vince.
Yeah, it was pretty horrible.
So the first horror movie for 2012's horror month, we decided to review a movie that actually came out last month, but it should have came out this month because this is the month of horror, and that is what?
The Possession.
Now, I know you're all down about these possession movies, Vince. You know, you and the possession movies, you both, like, kind of throw up the gang symbols, you know.
I really like a good exorcism movie.
Yeah, this one actually looked interesting to me just for the simple fact that there's this great show on the Syfy channel called Paranormal Witness.
Paranormal Witness, an original series. All new Wednesdays at 10. Only on Syfy. Imagine greater.
And they had an episode the other day about this the Dooku box? I knew I was going to say that. The Count Dooku box.
Indeed.
The Dooku box.
The terrifying Dooku box. You open up and this old man comes out and he's like, "Whoa, you shouldn't open my box."
Indeed.
All right, the Dybbuk box, they had this special on Paranormal Witness. And, you know, the whole time I was watching this, I said, well, this looks really familiar. I said, where have I seen this before? And the girl on the commercial had, like, this box, you know, she was opening. And I was like, wonder if that's the same box that they're talking about on the show. So I looked it up, and it was. And I was like, oh, cool. They actually made a movie out of this thing I just watched. And so that's really the reason I went to go see this.
Well, what really interested me in the trailer was the fact that Sam Raimi...
That's Sam Raimi's brother, Sam Raimi.
Sam Raimi. I mean, Sam Raimi.
Yeah, it's Sam Raimi and Count Dooku. He opened it up and he's like, "Hey, I'm Sam Raimi." And he was like, "I'm Count Dooku."
So the thing that interested me was Sam Raimi is producing or directing this film, and I figured, well, if he's involved in it, then it's got to be good.
I'm a big fan of the guy who played Papa Winchester in Supernatural, and he also played the comedian in The Watchmen. He's like the main star of this film. I didn't even know he was in it before I went to go see it, and that was a really pleasant surprise seeing him in it.
I never really watched Supernatural.
All right, so did you have any horrifying experiences going to see this film?
Oh my God.
Why don't you hit us with it?
There was about, 20, 25 or so teenagers in there. All of them talked and laughed and on their cell phones. The guy behind me, I mean, he just kept talking about his relationship. I didn't want to have any kind of relationship with him. I don't know if she was doing cocaine or just had a cold. I could have got into the movie a lot more if I didn't have such a bad movie experience.
The thing I liked a lot about The Possession, and I kind of knew this, or at least I figured this going into the film, this isn't a hack and slash film. It's nothing like that. You know, I kind of went into it expecting sort of like just kind of a creepy, after watching Paranormal Witness, I kind of thought I knew what I was going to expect here. But it was kind of a creepy movie. I mean, it's not like a fast-paced film.
The difference in it, too, is that it's not like the movies like The Devil Inside that came out earlier this year, and where it's an exorcism movie where you see, the person that is possessed, she starts contorting in all kinds of different ways and crawling up walls and attacking people. There's none of that in there. It's more of a creepy possession movie. It's not, and like Dave said, it does take a while to actually get started. I mean, the first 20 minutes of it, you're kind of sitting there like, okay, all right, but once it finally does start to happen, then the movie gets a lot more interesting. And I actually, for the movie, it wasn't that bad. I actually I got more out of this than I have out of like The Devil Inside.
Finally, we actually do see a film where somebody does actually physically get possessed, and they did an awesome job with that. I thought, the girl that gets possessed, she was so creepy, and you can tell her changing and getting into her possession mode. I loved all that. I thought that was great.
Right. It actually took me back to like The Exorcist to begin with, and it was just that kind of a creepiness to it. Actually, I think this was a little bit creepier in some scenes, but like I said, I probably would have gotten a lot more shock out of it if it wasn't for the horrible experience I was having in the theater.
All right, so Vince, our first,
What are you knocking over there?
I knocked the Dooku box over.
Indeed.
I would actually have to give this movie, and I'm trying hard to give this movie this rating based on the movie. I would have to give it a 3 out of 5.
And I really enjoyed this film. I just like the creepiness of it, and it's kind of refreshing to go into a horror movie and not have. I mean, I love the slasher films. Don't get me wrong; they're one of my favorite genres. I love Jason and Freddy and Michael. I love those, but it's kind of refreshing once in a while to see a horror film that's just creepy and scary. So I really enjoyed this film. So I would give it a 4 out of 5.
It probably deserves that, but for me right now, it's a 3.
So we have a ton more stuff to show you for Horror Month. This was just the beginning.
All frickin' month long.
Indeed.
Count Dooku.